On a sun-drenched Saturday in August, a search team gathered around an abandoned mine shaft.
There were dangerous areas in the national park.
They found the body of Aaron Corwin, who had been missing for 2 months.
They met in high school, they married young, they moved to a place where they didn't know anybody.
The Mojave Desert has a way of erasing people. No trees to cling to, no buildings to hide behind, just endless earth and endless silence. Somewhere beneath that silence, inside a vertical mine shaft abandoned decades ago, a 19-year-old girl lay hidden for 7 weeks. No grave marker, no goodbye, just darkness. Her name was Erin Corwin. She was a Marine wife. She was pregnant. And the man who walked her into the desert that morning was never planning to let her walk back out. Because this wasn't an accident. This wasn't rage. This was lying in wait. And by the time the truth surfaced, the desert had already decided to keep her. Before the desert, before the lies, before the mine shaft. Erin Corwin was just a kid from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. She grew up around horses, wide open fields, a place where people knew your name and doors didn't always have to be locked. Friends described her as quiet, but kind, the type of girl who listened more than she spoke, someone who wanted stability and believed love was something that lasted. She met John Corwin when they were young. Their families knew each other. Their relationship felt safe, familiar. So when John enlisted in the Marines, marriage felt like the natural next step. They married in 2012. And just like that, Erin's world shrank. From green Tennessee hills to the harsh, unforgiving desert of 29 Palms, California. Military life isn't easy, especially for someone barely out of high school. John worked long hours. The heat was relentless, and Erin was alone. A lot. Then came the miscarriage, a pregnancy lost before it could even begin. Friends noticed a change. She became withdrawn, quiet in a way that felt heavier than before. And when Erin became pregnant again in early 2014, she didn't seem relieved. She seemed conflicted, because somewhere along the way, she had started leaning on someone else. Christopher Lee lived nearby, former Marine, married, a father. On the surface, he looked stable, but behind closed doors, his life was unraveling. He had been denied a deployment, something he deeply wanted, something that fed his identity. Witnesses later described him as impulsive, reckless with firearms, prone to emotional swings. In February 2014, both couples attended a gathering. At some point that night, Erin and Christopher disappeared into a bedroom, claiming they were just playing video games. That was the beginning. Texts turned into secrets. Secrets turned into an affair. Erin began babysitting Christopher's daughter. She spent time inside his home, and when Nicole Lee, Christopher's wife, found explicit messages on his phone, everything exploded. There was a confrontation, a physical fight, and a threat that would later haunt the investigation. "If you ever have anything else to do with my husband, I'll kill you myself." Investigators would remember that line, but they would also remember something else. Erin didn't back away. She leaned in. June 28, 2014, early morning. Erin kissed her husband goodbye and told him she was heading to Joshua Tree National Park. She said she was scouting places to take her mother someday. It sounded harmless, but Erin wasn't going sightseeing. She was meeting Christopher Lee. He told her he had a surprise, something important, maybe a proposal, maybe a future. What Erin didn't know was that Christopher had already packed for death. Inside his Jeep Cherokee, a .22 caliber rifle, a propane tank, gasoline, and a homemade garrote, built in advance, not panic, not impulse, preparation. They drove deep into the desert, to an area scattered with abandoned mine shafts, places locals avoided, places where screams went nowhere. At some point, Erin turned her back, and Christopher struck. He slipped the rebar loop over her neck and pulled. 5 minutes. 5 full minutes. Later, he would calmly testify that he checked for a pulse, waited 30 seconds, and then pushed her body headfirst into the shaft. 250 feet. Erin never stood a chance. When Erin didn't return home, John panicked. Her car was found abandoned near the base. No blood, no signs of struggle, just silence. What followed was massive. 6 law enforcement agencies, hundreds of volunteers, over 1,200 square miles searched. The desert was riddled with mine shafts, some unmapped, some vertical death traps. Dogs were lowered to openings, cameras descended into blackness, cavers risked their lives going down. Days turned into weeks. Hope faded, until a caver noticed something strange, the smell of gasoline. August 16th, 2014. A shaft nearly overlooked. 250 feet down, they found Erin. Gasoline soaked the area, a propane tank nearby. Christopher had tried to burn her body and failed. Evidence stacked up fast. Footprints from Erin's car led directly to tire tracks, tracks that matched Christopher's Jeep. Inside his phone, how to dispose of a human body. There was no explaining that away. In October 2016, Christopher Lee took the stand and did something unexpected. He confessed, but he claimed it was a crime of passion.
Okay, well, I can fix this. And then, broken pieces fix each other, so we just kind of started developing a bond that grew stronger. And then, over time, we started getting closer, having longer we ended up, we kissed a few times at her place. And then,
triggered by a shocking accusation involving his daughter.
she blew up. And
Prosecutors called it what it was, a lie.
I wasn't there.
The garrote was pre-built, the meeting pre-arranged, the murder premeditated. The jury deliberated 15 minutes. First-degree murder, lying in wait, life without parole. Erin Corwin was finally brought home. Her mother said she refused to let bitterness win, that the man who killed her would not take anything more. The desert gave Erin back, but it kept the silence. If this story stayed with you, subscribe, because some truths deserve to be heard, no matter how deep they're buried. Before you leave, remember Erin Corwin didn't get a second chance to tell her story, but by watching, by sharing, by subscribing, you make sure she's not forgotten. If you want more true crime stories told with facts, respect, and zero filters, hit subscribe and stay with us. Because some truths don't stay buried forever.